Nauru, a forgotten wealth and rising struggles. What happens when a tiny island that once ranked among the richest places on the planet falls into near obscurity, now grappling with the highest obesity rates in the world? Picture this: a country so small that its airport runway has become the locals' go-to jogging path. Welcome to Nauru, officially the least visited country on Earth. But don't be fooled by its current state. This island holds a fascinating story, from enormous wealth to environmental collapse. Its history may just offer some of the most profound lessons on resilience, survival, and sustainability. Stick around as we dive into Nauru's astonishing journey. Nauru, located in the middle of the Pacific Ocean, may be small in size, but it is big in heart and culture. What really makes this island stand out is its people, who hold tight to their deep-rooted traditions and unique way of life. Let's take a moment to appreciate the women of Nauru. Their natural beauty is a reflection of their island's history: bronzed skin, deep, expressive eyes, and a calm grace that symbolizes the warm spirit and welcoming nature that Nauruans are known for. The proud beauty of Nauruan women. In a world where beauty standards often look the same, Nauruan women shine with their distinct, proud identity. Traditional clothing plays a huge role in their cultural expression, with outfits made from woven palm leaves and adorned with shells and colorful patterns. You'll often see these beautiful garments during traditional dances and celebrations. Now imagine witnessing these women gracefully moving to the rhythm of cultural dances, draped in their stunning traditional wear. It's an experience that truly captures the soul of Nauru. The heart of Nauruan hospitality. What truly makes Nauru stand out isn't just its natural beauty, it's the warmth of its people. Nauru is a place where the sense of community runs deep, and whether you're a stranger or a friend, you'll be welcomed with open arms. This hospitality isn't just hearsay either. According to a 2024 report from the Pacific Islands Forum, an impressive 90% of visitors said they felt incredibly welcomed during their stay. That's a pretty remarkable statistic, wouldn't you agree? If you ever find yourself lucky enough to visit during one of Nauru's festivals or celebrations, you're in for more than just a good time. Families here love to invite visitors to be part of the fun, offering delicious home-cooked meals and sharing stories that reveal what life is really like on this little island. It's a sense of belonging you won't find in many places. So, what do you think? Could Nauru, with all its isolation, actually offer one of the most meaningful experiences a traveler could ask for? Tell us in the comments. Would you visit Nauru? Nauru's struggle with obesity. Here's a fact that may surprise you. Around 71% of Nauru's population is considered obese, making it the country with the highest obesity rate in the world. As you walk around, whether at the local markets or in a restaurant, it's clear that obesity is a widespread issue here, often described as an epidemic. But how did it get to this point? From riches to reliance on processed foods. Nauru's obesity crisis is closely tied to the downfall of its once thriving phosphate industry. Believe it or not, there was a time when Nauru was one of the richest countries in the world, per person. But as the phosphate deposits were depleted, so was the country's wealth. Today, Nauru heavily depends on imported, low-cost processed foods. Think instant noodles, canned meats, and sugary drinks. These unhealthy choices have become everyday staples for many. And it doesn't help that much of Nauru's land was destroyed by phosphate mining, making it impossible to grow local food. With no viable farmland, residents are left with few options but to rely on these unhealthy imports. To make things worse, there's a deeply ingrained cultural belief that being overweight is a sign of wealth and success, which only adds to the problem. Combine that with a mostly sedentary lifestyle, and it's easy to see why obesity has become such a widespread issue. In fact, around 40% of Nauru's population suffers from type 2 diabetes, giving it the highest diabetes rate in the world. It's a serious situation, and the government has been working on creative ways to encourage more physical activity. One of the more surprising solutions? Locals have started using the island's airport runway as a walking track. It may sound unusual, but on an island that's only about 8 square miles, the runway provides one of the few flat spaces where people can get some exercise. Turning the airport runway into a fitness track. Just picture it. Locals walking along the very runway where planes land and take off, using it as part of their daily fitness routine. It's all part of the government's larger effort to combat the growing health crisis by promoting more physical activity. And while Nauru might feel a bit confined with its small size, just 4 miles wide and 5 miles long, these small steps show how the Nauruan people are trying to take back control of their health, even in the most unconventional ways. The collapse of Nauru's economy. Nauru's story isn't just about environmental devastation or public health struggles, it also has a dramatic economic downturn. So, what happens when your country's primary resource is nearly exhausted and your economy is teetering on the edge of collapse? That's exactly what Nauru faced in the 1990s as its once rich phosphate reserves began to run dry. But instead of choosing a traditional path to recovery, Nauru took a bold and controversial route: offshore banking and selling passports. Offshore banking and passport sales, a risky gamble. At one point, Nauru became home to over 400 offshore banks, many of which were nothing more than names on paper. These banks didn't even have to physically operate on the island, making Nauru a hotspot for questionable financial activities. It became a go-to place for laundering money, with reports suggesting that Russian criminals funneled billions through these so-called shell banks. But that wasn't the only controversial move. Nauru also started selling passports, offering citizenship to individuals seeking visa-free travel or tax breaks. However, this program also attracted people with far more sinister motives, including terrorism suspects, setting off alarm bells around the world. The global backlash. The international community, especially the United States, quickly took notice. Worried that Nauru's lax banking and passport policies could be exploited by criminal organizations, the U.S. put significant pressure on the island to shut down these practices. By 2003, under the threat of severe financial sanctions, Nauru had no choice but to revoke many of its offshore banking licenses. Unfortunately, by then, the damage had already been done. Nauru's reputation had taken a major hit, and many global financial institutions severed ties with the country, leaving Nauru more isolated than ever. Nauru's troubled past, economic collapse, and international controversy. The collapse of Nauru's phosphate industry left lasting scars on both its economy and its global reputation. With unemployment skyrocketing to nearly 80% and the land ravaged by years of mining, the island faced an uncertain future. In 2001, Australia presented a controversial solution: turn Nauru into a refugee processing center for asylum seekers trying to reach Australia by boat. Desperate to avoid bankruptcy, Nauru agreed, leading to the creation of the Nauru Regional Processing Center, where conditions soon drew widespread criticism. International outcry and human rights violations. The refugee camps quickly became notorious for their overcrowded, harsh conditions. Reports of abuse and human rights violations emerged, sparking condemnation from organizations like Amnesty International and the United Nations. In fact, the International Criminal Court deemed the conditions illegal. As the criticism grew, the Nauruan government took extreme measures, such as banning Facebook in 2015, claiming it was to protect its citizens from inappropriate content. However, many believed the move was meant to suppress whistleblowers and control the narrative. Nauru's struggle. From economic collapse and environmental devastation to the fight for a sustainable future. Nauru's modern history tells the story of a nation once flush with wealth, now struggling to rise from the ashes of economic and environmental collapse. During the peak of its phosphate mining industry, Nauru enjoyed an unprecedented level of prosperity. It was once considered one of the richest countries in the world on a per capita basis. However, this wealth was short-lived. As the phosphate reserves ran dry, so did Nauru's fortune, leaving the island in a state of economic ruin. The collapse left Nauru heavily reliant on foreign aid, and to this day, the country continues to grapple with severe unemployment, which at times has hovered around 80%. In 2024, as Nauru celebrated its 56th Independence Day with bright parades and festivities, there was no escaping the harsh reality of its economic struggles. Despite the celebratory atmosphere, the island remains heavily dependent on international support, with limited options for sustainable economic development. President David Adiang, in his address to the nation, lauded Nauru's strength and resilience, acknowledging the hard road ahead while offering hope for the future. But beneath the optimism lies the stark truth: the road to recovery will be long and challenging. The environmental impact of decades of unregulated phosphate mining has left an indelible mark on the island. Over 90% of Nauru's land has been rendered barren, transformed into a jagged, lunar-like landscape that is unsuitable for agriculture or habitation. The once fertile soil has been stripped away, leaving behind nothing but scarred land that can no longer sustain life or provide for the island's food security. With such a vast portion of its territory damaged beyond repair, Nauru has found it difficult to diversify its economy or develop sustainable industries. The destruction of its environment means Nauru now depends almost entirely on imported food, much of which is highly processed and unhealthy. This reliance on imports has also contributed to a public health crisis, with Nauru now facing some of the highest obesity and diabetes rates in the world. The lack of resources and arable land continues to tie the island's fate to foreign aid and controversial agreements, like hosting offshore detention centers for refugees bound for Australia. These agreements have provided a temporary financial lifeline, but have also drawn intense international criticism for the poor conditions and human rights violations in the camps. Lessons in sustainability and the road ahead. Nauru's rise and fall serve as a cautionary tale about the dangers of short-term economic gains without sustainable planning. The immense wealth brought by phosphate mining was fleeting, and without a long-term vision, Nauru now faces the long-lasting consequences of environmental degradation, economic dependency, and social challenges. The island's story underscores the critical importance of sustainable development, careful resource management, and forward-thinking policies that prioritize the well-being of both people and the planet. As Nauru looks to the future, the question remains: how can this small island nation recover from such devastation? Solutions will likely need to focus on sustainable economic diversification, environmental rehabilitation, and investing in the health and well-being of its people. For the rest of the world, Nauru's experience offers invaluable lessons on the need to balance immediate economic benefits with long-term environmental and social sustainability. The global community can learn much from Nauru's journey, and hopefully, the island itself can find a way to rise again, reclaiming its place as a resilient and hopeful nation. Nauru's uncertain future and Nauru's lessons for the world. With depleted resources and a fragile economy, Nauru faces an uncertain future. Experts suggest that diversifying into renewable energy and tourism could help, but the island's remote location and lack of infrastructure pose significant challenges. However, Nauru has the potential to become a global example of recovery from environmental and economic devastation. By focusing on rebuilding its land and ecosystems, It could lead the way in Pacific sustainability. While the road is long, the resilience of Nauru's people offers hope. Nauru's story is a global wake-up call, showing the dangers of short-term thinking and over-reliance on finite resources. As the world faces similar challenges, Nauru's collapse serves as a stark reminder of the need for sustainable development, long-term planning, and environmental preservation. At this critical juncture, Nauru's recovery depends on international support, investments in renewable energy, and efforts to restore its environment. The people of Nauru have shown remarkable resilience, and with the right strategies, there is hope for the island to rebuild and reclaim its future. A call to action, reflecting on Nauru's journey. Nauru's journey from wealth to environmental devastation teaches us vital lessons about sustainability. This small island has faced unimaginable challenges, yet its fight for a better future continues. Nauru's story is a reminder of the fragile balance between prosperity and responsible growth, offering lessons for travelers and global citizens alike. As we wrap up this exploration of Nauru, we invite you to reflect on how we can build more sustainable societies and support nations like Nauru in their recovery. These questions will shape the future of not only Nauru, but the entire world. If you enjoyed today's video, please hit that like button, and don't forget to subscribe to our channel. Be sure to check out the video on your screen now. We think you'll love it. Let us know in the comments which country you'd like us to feature next. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.